how difficult would it be to take your map or suggestion of itinerary and put that, translate that into Mandarin? Or if you, obviously, if it's Russian people that you want, translate it into Russian. Make it really easy for people to see the sites. Consider having signs up in Mandarin as well. And then don't forget travel, the mobile. Travelers are digital savvy. When I traveled recently to San Diego, my flight, my details for my check-in were on my phone. I used Airbnb. I was using Uber all the time. I was using Google Maps consistently. And I know India's got great apps for travelers. They've introduced quite a lot of apps recently, and they're quite good. Most people traveling will use travel apps, and 95% of Chinese tourists carry smartphones. How many of your apps are actually translated into that you can use Mandarin for? I don't know. Okay, make it easier to shop. 1 in 5 retail pounds spent each year by Chinese tourists in the UK goes to one shop. Can anybody guess what that shop is? Sorry? Harrods, yes. Okay, they get 1 in 5 of every of the retail that Chinese people send. And I know it's a retail, not tourist, but it is a key tourist highlight. What they did is they've introduced Union Pay as far back as 2011. And when they introduced Union Pay terminals, they found a 40% increase in turnover in the first quarter. So it increased by 40% overall for the shop, just by doing that one simple thing. They also have Mandarin-speaking staff. They now accept Alipay as well. But one of the MD of Harrods said the most important marketing tool they've done, or more strategic marketing they've done, is using social media. They have people using Chinese social media platforms and responding, listening to tourists, and they respond to what they're saying. So they've actually made changes according to what they've heard and interacted with people. And as a result, their customers are now spending 5 times the amount that Americans are spending, and also they've noticed they're younger. Okay, and again, think mobile. When in China, there's no difference between e-commerce and social networks. They're all one and the same, and people are used to making mobile payments. So can people pay? So can you accept Alipay? Can you accept Tenpay? Very importantly, listen to what tourists are saying before, during, and after. They really tell you a lot about what the experience is, and it gives you a chance to actually take action while your customers, while they're there and using at your property or having your experience or at your destination. And C-Trip, I'm not going to talk much about review sites because we are coming on to tomorrow. We're going to cover that in more detail. We've got that covered by, I think there are 4 talks on reviews. But C-Trip is the world's 3rd largest review site. So how many of you had looked at C-Trip or what people are saying about you in C-Trip? So just in summary, you want to know who your customers are and really, really have a good idea of who they are. You want to make it easier for them to find you. You want them to make it easier for them to be a tourist. You want to make them feel at home, and you want to listen to what they're saying. So you want to pay attention, and then don't forget mobile. Are there any questions? Hey, I've got 16 seconds. Are there any questions? Oh, yes. I'd be so disappointed.
Well, first, I really would like to say sorry to one of the guests from Singapore and Malaysia that you guys had been skipped. In fact, I'll catch you tomorrow morning, right? So, Yes, actually that was the reason this time I was not waiting for the mic and I have stood up so that I can get my chance. Well, coming to the point, in the few starting slides, you have mentioned about expansion, about the business in the new market. So I just need to know that is there any specific research is required to get started with the new market? And is there any pros and cons are there? And if it is, so then what could be the major resources we needed to expand the business in the new market?
I think it's a case of deciding where you want to market rather than just hoping that more people are going to come from a particular country. So, and really understanding their wants and their needs and their experiences. And I know a few people said about putting yourself in your customer's shoes or thinking as a tourist. But often when we think as a tourist, we have our own colored spectacles on in terms of we think based on our culture and our experiences. So it's trying to understand how other people find their experience. And often that is by asking questions and really doing proper research.
So is it the only online strategy will be the productive thing, or do we have something offline?
Well, offline, I would talk. If you've got people from another country visiting your site or your destination, talk to them. Find out how they find things. Don't be defensive if they say something. Use everything as a learning experience and find out, really question and ask, and get under their skin to find out what you can make to make things better, what they find interesting, so that you can use that to create the right messages for people. And it's just really being concentrated. With Facebook, if you're obviously not going for China, Facebook is a good tool to get to a lot of countries. Russia, you're going to have to be on VKontakte, which VK. So there's certain tools. It's knowing which platform is the best platform to reach that nationality. Being focused and really understand who those people are and what they want.
I'm done with that. Thank you.
Hello. Nicky.
Yes.
Here.
Okay. Hello.
You spoke in detail about Chinese outbound market.
Yeah.
What's your take on Indian outbound market? Although it is growing, but what do you see where India will be after maybe 5 years or down the line 10 years?
I think India is growing very rapidly, and as part of the Chinese tourism industry, I would try to be capturing those market of getting people to explore their own country, your own country, rather than getting them to go to another country. So, I mean, outbound tourists are growing, and India is a big market, and it will expand.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Nicky. That was quite interesting. My name is Robbie George.
Hello.
You were mentioning about the example of Harrods.
Yes.
They had a new website and they changed their payment gateway. But I think that is a shopping mall. But I think if you're looking at tourism, such as a complex, if you want to change a destination, there's a lot of investment which has to go into, creating the right infrastructure in terms of language-speaking guides, in terms of, all the infrastructure has to be. So there's a lot of investment which has to go into, changing the whole destination to position for a particular market like China. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why you need to be focused about it. Because if you think that, say, you wanted to go for the Chinese market, and it is definitely a market worth considering because they've been shown internationally to be big spenders if they're given that opportunity. But you need to understand. So you would need to find people who can speak Mandarin, read Mandarin, who can give you feedback, and maybe have some apps that can help translate things. So it doesn't mean that you have to speak Mandarin at every. Are you a tour operator?
Yes.
Or, yeah, tour operator. So yes, you probably want to have somebody who could lead the tour, but you want to make sure that that person actually is knowledgeable. Because it shouldn't just be somebody because they can speak Mandarin.
Thank you. And this is actually not a question, but I just would like to thank Andrew for his interesting presentation and showing us, all different opportunities for WhatsApp. Because I was very skeptical about WhatsApp. It's usually a means of spreading lies, half lies, and rumors. And for example, we have a tourism update group which I'm a member of. So I get to see a lot of greetings, jokes, and even religious stuff on this, and less tourism on that. So Thank you, Andrew, indeed.
Alrighty.
Okay, we're out of time.
You have, yeah, go for it, go for it, go for it. Do you want to say something?
No, that's fine.
But we want to say something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a big hand for the lady, everybody?
Okay.
All right. Can we have a big hand for one last time for all our speakers on day 2, everybody? Come on, give it up. Big hand, everybody. If you think that was interesting, if you think they were educating, give them a big shout out, everyone. Come on, a big hand and a shout out for them.